All right, thank you for staying with the NEWSNIGHT. You're just in time. We already started the discussion before you joined us, but I'll introduce my guest to you. Devolution CS Eugene Wamalwa is joining us. Thank you for making time.
Thank you.
So the figures we have: 16,083 households have been affected, 21 fatalities, 2 injuries, approximately 96,000 people affected in one way or another. Additionally, 21,000 livestock, 500 acres of crop farms, at least 4,000 pit latrines destroyed. Do you have any official figures from the government?
Yes, I think, may I start by passing my condolences to the families that have lost their dear ones as a result of the floods. Officially, we have 20 confirmed deaths as a result of these floods. But unlike drought, where it is a progressive process, you know, from the pasture to the livestock, to the human beings. Floods are very devastating in terms of affecting lives, human, livestock, and property. So it is regrettable that we've lost this number of lives to floods within a very short period. Yeah. Unlike drought, that from the failure of the short rains in October last year, we had put in place interventions to prevent loss of life to drought. Okay. I must acknowledge tonight that the rains that came in October this year have been heavier than in October last year when the short rains failed. Okay. And we are, as national government, moving, working very closely with the counties to do our best to ensure that we avoid any loss of human life or further loss of livestock or property as a result of this flood. You
call it regrettable, but this did not come as a surprise to you, CS. It's a vicious circle. We know drought, then floods. The weatherman warned that there was going to be floods. Have you learned anything?
Yes, we have learned a lot since we started experiencing this phenomenon of climate change.
It's just not.
And we're not beginning today. We're looking at 10 years ago, from 2010, when we had a very serious drought in our country. And the entire Horn of Africa was affected. Heads of state came together under the auspices of IGAD, and they looked at what we can do to end drought as an emergency in our region. Because experts are saying with climate change, it is not abnormal to have drought and floods in the same year. And back to back, we've seen a pendulum swing from drought straight to floods.
Having known that,
what we agreed in 2010, Trevor, was that we must make proper plans so that we avoid this being an emergency. That's how we came up with the ending drought emergency. Nairobi was the place where we hosted all the countries in the region, in the entire Horn of Africa. Under the leadership of President Kibaki, we were able to actually put in place this framework. And we agreed that by 2020, 2022, we should end this business of drought being an emergency in our region. EDA is what led to the formation of NDMA. Just the other day, when hosted IGAD in Nairobi, we were awarded the Resilient Champion in the African IGAD region. Why? Because we have since institutionalized and structured our interventions in dealing with drought. And
what are those interventions? Yes,
these interventions, first of all,
because now people are dying, 21 people.
First of all, is institutionalizing, ensuring that we strengthen our institutional, legal, and policy framework, so that we have a very structured way of dealing with these issues, so that we don't look at drought as an emergency, because we expect it to come. The experts are saying that they will come with more frequency and more severity than before.
But what are you doing about it?
So what we have
That's
done,
the main question.
The award we got recently as Kenya, and it's a recognition on the African continent by our fellow African countries.
That's okay. What are you doing about it? You're not answering my question.
No, what we have done is that after we set the institutions in place, we have also set a fund in place that will deal with building resilience, so that we're able to shift right from relief food that we've been giving for 50 years to resilience.
How does building resilience look like?
This is something that through this fund, we want to work with the counties, ensure that each county has set aside enough funds. When we have drought or floods, our first line of defense as a country is through the counties.
Yeah.
So that the counties must deal with the situation at the county level. When they're overwhelmed, we come in as national government. And when we're overwhelmed, we declare either drought or floods a national disaster. That's what we did in 2017. Then we now call in the international community. As we speak, this system has worked very well. Through NDMA, we have made the biggest progress that the other African countries are now looking at Kenya as a success story by institutionalizing the issue of early warning systems. We share these intelligence, these data with the counties, and we tell them that when it comes to this period, like last year, it was predicted that the short rains are likely to fail. The signs are showing that we might not have enough rain. And from October to December, we had drought setting in. Between January and March, as national government, we put aside 1.8 billion that we were able to put interventions in place to deal with the drought. Between April and May, we put in more funding. And between June, as the president announced in Madaraka Day, was that between June to December, if the drought persists, if the short rains fail as they did last year, we have enough funding. Almost 5 billion set aside between June to December.
Fair enough.
And that is why you have seen us everywhere intervening,
and that is on the
supporting the affected counties.
Yes, what you're not answering me is that this is the floods and 21 people have died so far. Is someone sleeping on the job then?
No one is sleeping on the job.
Because if you say all these interventions have been put in place, why do we have people dying?
No one is sleeping. No one is sleeping on the job, Trevor. What we are saying is that what has appeared very normal, with the coming in place of this phenomenon of climate change, abnormal things are going to happen. But we are saying we are no longer, as governments, going to regard this as abnormal. Like having drought, sometimes it will take a cycle that will be longer. But now we have a shorter cycle, more frequency, more severity. And this year alone, may I tell you that I was in Marsabit County dealing with the drought this year, at the beginning of the year. I'm back. I've just come from Marsabit yesterday, dealing with floods. You know, having drought and flood the same year is very abnormal. Many years ago, it will happen like within 5 or 10 years.
You knew it was coming. This is my only question that you're not answering. And I'll ask you this question until the end of this interview. How come people are still dying, having been warned earlier on that this was going to happen?
What we have succeeded in doing, first of all, Trevor, is this, that from 2010, we have set in place the necessary institutional, the legal and policy framework, including putting in place a national climate change strategy, including putting in place a national climate change action plan, including being amongst the first, if not the first African country to pass the Climate Change Act. And we have been celebrated globally.
Fair enough.
So
but all that is
what I'm saying,
approach. What about the ground where people
Where we have succeeded, Trevor, is this, that we have now managed through NDMA to strengthen our early warning system.
And you are
through using technology, our meteorological department is more effective. I remember, I think you must be younger than me, but we had a guy called Ngwata Francis when I was in school. This Ngwata Francis would always say
you're still
that there would be, I'm coming to it, there would be mvua na rasha hapa na pale. Those years. But today, as we speak, because of the institutionalized and technology, advancement in technology, we are able with accuracy to have early warning signs.
That is why
the meteorological department.
To be floods, now, and then there's going to be drought.
Last year, we succeeded. This year, we have succeeded in the accuracy of the information. Now, where we are moving to...
What are the permanent solutions? One of them that you talked about was building dams.
We're yet to come there. Where we're moving to is the response phase. We need, just the way we strengthened the institutional and policy framework, we now need to go to the response part. And where we are now, as we speak, we have legislation in our parliament, where we are now strengthening our legal, institutional, and policy framework in response, in terms of disaster risk management. And tonight, as I speak to you, I'll repeat what I said in Marsabit. I was with MPs from the Senator Marsabit County, the Member of Parliament, Kalicha, from Oyale, and I told them we must prioritize the issue of legislation, disaster risk management, so that from national to the county, it's a shared responsibility under our Constitution, both levels of government in terms of disaster risk management. We must work together, but work seamlessly from the national to the county in terms of response to this. So this is where we are today, and as we speak, we are doing our best. How
do we ensure you're not here again next year talking about drought?
Because
let me rephrase that
as
question.
we speak, we have been assured by Parliament that in another 1 or 2 months, hopefully before the end of the year, we should have the legal and policy and institutional framework in place, so that when there is drought, it is known from day one. You counties, you are the first line of defense. This is what you're supposed to do. As national government, we come in at this stage. If we overwhelm the international community, comes in at this stage. Response, this is coming. Secondly, we must ask ourselves, the water we lacked in Wajir, in Marsabit, in Mandera, in Turkana a few months ago, we now have it. This water is flowing to the ocean. The ocean does not need the water. We need the water. The people in Wajir, in Marsabit, in Mandera.
And what are you doing about it to ensure
what we must do now is enhance
that dams are being built.
Our water harvesting and storage capacity. As we speak, when we started from the 1.8 billion, we had 600 through my ministry for relief food. And you've seen us out there in the field supporting the families affected by drought. And now we're supporting the families affected by floods. I've just come from Marsabit. There are villages that were cut off. We have been able to airlift food to them. We are going to Wajir day after tomorrow. We are going to Mandera. We will be in Garissa. We will be in Turkana. There are also areas.
Water going to waste in Wajir, for example.
Yes.
How is that
what
water
we're
being
saying
collected?
is
Let's talk about
this water, we must harvest this water. We must store this water.
How are we doing that?
We must build dams. From the 1.8, as I've said, 600 came to food, 600 went to water tracking, then 600 went to agriculture irrigation, where we're building water ponds. And as we speak, when you go out there, the water ponds we did are all full. In spite of the water flooding the homes, all the water ponds are full, all the dams are full, but we must build more. We do not have enough. We went to Turkana.
Are you being honest when you say the dams are full? Because when you were here last year, you said that Bute Dam was one of the dams that was being built. You know very well that the National Assembly Environment Committee stopped the building of those dams. Are you being honest?
Not just the National Assembly. We are talking about communities going to court. Litigation, stopping infrastructural development of our dams and irrigation systems.
So the dams are not full. Let's start from there, because
no, the dams are full. Those that have been done,
they don't exist because
those that have been done, Trevor, are full. Those that have challenges, you go to Nakuru, we have our dam that has been stopped because of challenges. And you go to Thwake Dam, it's being constructed. You go to Thiba Dam in Kirinyaga, it's been constructed.
So in 2016, the Water Act in 2016 established the Water Harvesting and Storage Authority. 4 years down the line, there's nothing to show for it. Should it be disbanded?
We have a new Water Act that is restructuring all these institutions. So what we are is the implementation phase of that Water Act and implementation of our Constitution. But all I want to assure Kenyans today, as we speak, we have no choice but to construct dams. Even the dams that we are facing challenges with, like Aurora and Kimorel, we must find a way of overcoming those challenges so that we build the dams. Because there's no other way of doing it other than building the dams, harvesting the water and storing it. We keep losing the water to the ocean. The ocean does not need the water. We do. So tonight I want to assure you that, Trevor, we are telling our counties they must do their part while we're doing the mega dam project. We must also build the small, medium-sized dams that the counties can do. We have the equalization fund. They can build those dams. We were in Moroto the other day with the president.
Yeah.
We visited Kobebe Dam in Uganda. We have our pastoralists from West Pokot who have crossed into Uganda. Our pastoralists from Turkana, they are into Uganda. They are in Kabong, they are in Kodibo, all the way to Moroto. Why have they gone to Uganda? Because we had drought here, we have water in Uganda. So now the president directed us, this dam we are seeing here in Kobebe, Chelugui, Wamalwa. I want to see one dam in West Pokot, one dam in Turkana, one dam in Marsabit.
But you still face the same challenge.
No. These are medium-sized dams. What the biggest challenge are the mega dams, where we have displacement, we have compensation, we have legal issues. But the small-sized, medium-sized dams can be done quickly.
How long?
Within a year. We have been given up to June.
So are you promising now that in June we will have those dams?
We want the president of Kenya, the president of Uganda, to be in West Pokot, to be in Turkana and Marsabit, to launch this dams. We are working around the clock. Once we have this model, Trevor, going into the future, those mega dams that take 5 years, take 20 billion, have all these legal challenges. We might have to reconsider our strategy to go for medium-sized dams that can be done at a lower cost and a faster pace, so that we have within a year we have a dam, we have communities benefiting. When we have rains, as we're doing, we're able to harvest the water and save lives and livestock.
We'll hold you accountable.
That is what we're doing now.
There's a question here that has been coming through social media a lot of times. Is the government going to compensate people who lost their livestock?
Definitely, and what we have in place also, we have an insurance policy. There are some of the things that we are changing in terms of insuring the livestock, in supporting communities, in improving the marketing. In my ministry alone, we have the IDEAS program. With the support of the EU, we are building abattoirs. We want to get these animals from the pastoralists. When drought is coming, instead of them dying, we off-take these animals from them, we compensate them, we slaughter, and we sell.
But the ones whose livestock have died, you will compensate?
We must, and that is one thing that we are engaging on to support the affected families. Largely in the ASAL, the economy revolves around pastoralism, and that's one area that we want to see how we can build resilience and win them off relief, because that's what we've been doing for 50 years. And we can't do the same thing the same way and expect different results,
and that is the question,
as Professor Einstein once said.
That is the question. The one Lawrence Mabishi on Twitter says, my question to CS is that, can he tell us why Kenyans are dying in the dry season and also in the rainy season, while he is still in office, earning a salary drawn from the same poor Kenyans through taxation? Should you resign? CS?
I can assure him
direct question, that should you resign?
I was here with your brother Hussein the other time, and he asked me whether people had died. I told them, as government, the interventions we put in place, both in 2017 when we had a more severe drought and this drought, we did not lose lives to drought. But I'm here tonight acknowledging on behalf of government that we have lost life to floods. That we must work together around the clock with the counties, with our partners, to prevent any further loss of life. That's why you saw me on Mashujaa Day, when I should have been at Mamangina Drive. The president said, Matiang'i, IG, I want a military, I want a helicopter, a police helicopter in Marsabit tomorrow, Wamalwa. We don't need you here. I left Dongokundu, flew all the way to Marsabit. We were out there with Governor Mahmoud Ali, airlifting food to all the affected counties. We went to Walda, we went all the way to Elabor. We were able to go to the villages. And after tomorrow, we are mobilizing food. I'm going to Wajir, we'll be in Mandera, all the way to Garissa and Turkana. No effort the president has directed should be spared, or no resource, to prevent any further loss of human life. 20 lives are too many. Even one life is one too many. And that's the approach we're taking. And we're going to do everything. All I want to urge tonight, Trevor, is that for our county governments, they must ensure that they each set aside sufficient money for emergencies. You know, the law allows them to set aside up to 2%, And that must be done.
Sorry to interrupt
From
you.
last year, I know you're talking about last year.
In the devolution conference, you said there's over 50 billion that was pumped into the Kenya Urban Support Program and the devolution program to counties. Again, what has that money done, CS? That is the frustration that
we are making progress. May I say this, that at the devolution conference, we talked about our regional economic blocks. As we speak, when you go to the coast, we have the 6 counties, Jumuiya counties of Pwani, dealing with going blue. We have 2.5 billion from the EU, and we have 6 counties working together to build resilience. The water that we are seeing in Garissa today is all headed to Tana River. Tomorrow, we are going to Tana River to deal with the floods. But they are building resilience. They want to see how to harvest the waters of the ocean and use it to produce. Now, when you go to the North Rift, Governor Mandago, as the chair of the North Rift counties, they have signed an MOU with all the counties to set up a climate change fund in each county. Now, if we can have all the other blocks doing the same, you don't wait for the national government to come to you. When drought comes or floods, you are first line of defense. Ensure as a governor, you do your best to save lives. Call Wamalwa to come in when you're overwhelmed. Then Wamalwa will tell the president, we are now overwhelmed as national government. Please call in the international community. For our legislators, they must also do their part. They must prioritize the disaster risk management bills. We want that infrastructure in place and a seamless operation across all levels of government to ensure we prevent any loss of life.
You know, my frustration is that you speak about policy a lot, but there's no implementation because people are still dying. Fine, you have the policy, they're done. You have the Climate Change Act, you have the Water Act to establish the water harvesting and storage. You're thinking of making smaller dams, which can be done within a year. What else?
People are still dying because climate change is one of the biggest threats.
But we know this is with us now.
It's the biggest threat we are facing. Now, ask ourselves, as Kenyans, what have we done? What have our sister countries done, our neighbors? Why is it that Kenya has won the regional recognition?
I don't want to talk about the words. People have died, CS. There was a paperwork. I'm talking about the actual implementation on the ground.
When you, the media, actually told us last year, people have died out of drought, we told you no.
You've confirmed people have died out of floods.
Now, tonight, I'm here confirming.
I'm sure
I'm here confirming people have died out of floods. And I'm saying this. When you compare Kenya to the other 9 countries or other countries on the African continent, where in the entire Horn of Africa we faced drought, do you know Kenya is the only country that out of all the countries in the region, we saved lives because of the interventions, the institutionalized and structured way of dealing with drought. We want regional and global recognition because of that. No, we must also accept and say where we're making progress, we are doing well. Like the early warning system I've told you. Now, what we need to pull our socks is the issue of the response phase. This is where we are. And once we get that done,
what is the
in future,
that
we can prevent loss of life to drought or to floods.
What is the plan to ensure response happens faster?
Now, the response happening faster,
because we were warned is the early warning.
I can tell you tonight is that once we have a structure in place and a seamless operation, everyone knows what part they'll play. It's like a team playing. You are defending. You are the goalkeeper, you are the striker. It will be very easy for this to prevent further loss of life in future. So this is what we're saying. We have succeeded in phase 1. We must succeed in phase 2 in improving our response.
CS, do you think you should resign?
I do not think so, Trevor, because we know that we're doing our best. We have already won. You know, this is not a local issue, Trevor. You know, one thing you're talking about,
but we're dealing with that
is Kenya put on the global stage. I was in New York. We had recognition internationally because of the measures we have put in place.
You're in charge of devolution in Kenya.
Trevor, we're not talking about a phenomenon that is local. This is not a local issue, it's a global issue.
But we have failed to
As
put
we
strategies
speak,
in place to respond in time.
Can I tell you this, Trevor?
That's the reason I'm asking you, should you resign, CS?
Not at all. We have challenges we're not going to run away from. We must confront them, and we must overcome them. Because even in the most advanced democracies, in the US, you have people dying, we have floods, we have hurricanes. In the US, we had Katrina.
Talk to me about the floods.
You have the cyclone that came, Idai. Now, this is happening. I remember once, Trevor, let me tell you one thing. We had floods that gone to Nyando. The same week I flew to Oxford. I was making a keynote address at Oxford University. And there were floods in Cumbria, in the UK. So I was like, these are the same floods that were in Nyando.
That doesn't mean it's okay for us to have them here, despite being warned.
But being a developing country, dealing with our challenges in the way that we have done, and being recognized by our peers and the global players that we have done well.
So will we not talk about this next year, CS?
Yes, we want to say.
Are you assuring Kenyans that we will not be having this conversation again?
2010, look at what we did under Kibaki. The progress we have made for the 10 years. Are we not going to have
this conversation next year? Yes, that's what
we cannot say that, because, as I've said, climate change is a reality.
So it means you're not
what is abnormal,
the strategies that you've put in place.
What is abnormal?
Because if you're not sure we are not going to have this conversation, it means you're not sure of the strategies you put in place.
Let us accept that what is normal today might be very abnormal tomorrow.
But you have a plan, I assume.
It is how we deal with it. And that's why I'm saying we have had a plan from 2010. We are making steady progress, institutionalizing and structuring our response to climate change. And we are head and shoulders in Africa and globally above our peers. Do you know there are countries, Trevor, who are recognizing us? A country like Portugal.
That's fine.
Portugal was telling us in New York that banning plastic in Kenya is an example we want to borrow.
All right, yes. So next year, you're assuring Kenyans we will not have this conversation. It's a yes or no answer. Because
I'm not going to know what will happen next year.
But you have plans, you have strategies.
You're saying it's not going to know what will happen next year.
You should be confident enough to say we've done this.
I can look every Kenyan in the eye and tell them that your government is doing the best and is head and shoulders above other governments on the African continent in dealing with this threat.
All right.
But it's not about government. It's also about the people accepting this reality. When we passed a new constitution in 2010, we said we want a forest cover, a tree cover of 10%. It takes every Kenyan, like Chinua Achebe said, it takes a village to raise a child. It takes every Kenyan to contribute to this success. Plant a tree in your village, in your home, in your farm, so that when we started at 6% tree cover when Kibaki was president, today we are headed to 8%. By 2020, we committed ourselves in our Vision 2030 to plant 7 billion trees. Now, when we are talking about Mau, we are talking about Mount Elgon, we're talking about all our water towers, and asking Kenyans to plant trees, it's a constitutional duty. We must all come out. Don't say the government must fix this. Ask yourself what you can do in your village, in your county, and in your country to contribute to this success. It will take all of us.
Thank you so much for making time. Honorable Gino Wamalwa, Devolution CS. I'm sure we'll have this conversation again next year. Thank you so much. But we'll hold you accountable to everything that you've pledged here.
And I'll be happy to report the progress to Kenya.